How's everyone doing today? Wish my phone would be quiet, but we can fix that. Get some people in here. Maybe we'll start our little discussion. I think you guys might like it. Might help you out in the long run. Ah, just try not to beat the firewall up. Oh, it's on the black side. It doesn't really matter. You guys might find this discussion a little interesting regarding cheap headers and some of the better options to go, at least in my opinion. You wouldn't think it'd be so tight in here, but it's pretty tight. We'll get on this discussion here in a second. I'm gonna need these for it. You got stuff bouncing everywhere, dropping everywhere. Then you're gonna see my mess of a workbench. Well, whatever. What's up, 6'2"? 6'2", you might like this. We're gonna talk about cheap headers today. And what to look for in good headers, period. So anyway, what we got going on here If you guys having trouble hearing me over the heater, let me know. I'll shut it off. Because it's still in the 30s up here. It's still cold. We got two different headers here. Same header, two different brands. Let's show you what to look for. Alright, let me kill this real quick. Alright, now I might be dealing with these two very specific headers right here. But let me tell you what. There's a big difference in headers, guys. So first off, before you buy a set, you need to know what's your plans. What do you want to do with them? Do you want high horse? I mean, do you want horsepower, or do you want torque? Well, obviously everybody's going to want horsepower, okay? But where do you want your horsepower at? Do you want it down low? Do you want it up high? Lower RPM range, higher RPM range. To get lower street friendly horsepower, a little more torque and everything else, you want to go with a long tube header. Shorty headers like this, block huggers, anything that's designed to, like, even the truck manifolds for the LS. Those are all shorty headers. These are going to bring your power band up a little bit higher. So that's one of your main decisions you got to make. Where do you want your power band? Now, we got 1 7/8, 1 3/4, 1 5/8. If you have a motor that's 500 horsepower, my personal opinion, you don't need 1 7/8 headers. All right. See if we can be heard now. All right. So, anyway, as I was getting to, so if you got plans for higher horsepower and stuff like that, yes, 1 7/8, 1 3/4, that's fine. If you're making, this is going to be low horsepower engine. I'm not lying. I would be happy to see 450 horse out of it. I'm not going for tire burning, tire smoke, and everything else. This is a cruiser. That's what the car is being built for. That's the purpose of the whole car. So that's why I went with 1 5/8. Another reason why, I have a ground clearance issue. So I cannot go with long tube headers because with the air ride suspension, we're going to essentially just hit the headers. 1 3/4 headers, which is the biggest one they offer for this car in this setup, is going to bring me up to a 3-inch pipe, which bending a 3-inch pipe under the frame and back out on how they run the exhaust systems on the Impalas, that's going to cause issues again with when we let the car down. It's going to hit the headers. It's going to hit the pipes. It's going to stress the pipes. It's going to break welds. It's just going to cause havoc. So that's why I went with these. These have these are 2.5-inch collectors with V bands. The V bands came into play because we have clearance issues underneath the car. The way these fold up underneath the engine, with the um, three flange or the 3-bolt collector, it's another issue. Now, a lot of you guys running the 4L60s and the 4L80 trans with your truck style headers or S10 headers or any of the, the ones that go towards the back, your standard cheap header, a lot of you guys are cutting off the ear and the tab. If you can find a set of V-band headers, and they are out there cheap, if you can find a set of V-band headers, you're not going to have to cut that tab off because you're not going to hit it. Hey, what's up? How you doing, Jess? That's why I'm not answering the phone. So, now, brings me on to my other discussion. Which of these headers is cheap eBay headers? One header costs $100, the other header costs $200. They're both cheap headers. Big difference in the headers. So, I'm going to straight up tell you, that's the cheap $100. I think these might have been $90. They're cheap. They work. They're good for just about anything. But if you want just a little bit better for a little bit more, and we're not talking like, I mean, you can go out and spend $1,500 on a set of stainless work headers, hooker headers, or whatever you guys want. Go ahead. I really don't like spending that kind of money on headers. So, and I'm block hugger header anyway, so I'm always going to be limited to begin with because of what's going on. So, let me show you guys the big difference and what to look for in a good header. Because honestly, that's a good header. And I'll tell you where I got it here in a minute. But let me show you what's going on. You buy a header, you want to look for a couple of things. One, stainless is always nice. A ceramic coated header is going to keep more heat out of the engine bay. These are going to last longer. So, and they always look pretty. So, stainless is always nice. And most cheap headers, 99.9% of them, come either in steel form, stainless form, and I highly doubt you'll ever find ceramic coated headers for $100. Sorry, just ain't gonna happen. So, are they MIG welded? Are they TIG welded? Personally, I would stay away from a MIG welded header. I think a TIG weld's a lot better. So, granted, now we're looking at the style of welds. These are TIG welded. You can tell by the weld joint, those are TIG. How thick is your flange? Flange on these are actually fairly thick. I would say they're 3/8 of an inch thick. Pretty easy. I kind of wish I had a straight edge here, which I really don't. But another thing you're gonna want to check is how straight is your flange. A lot of the cheaper headers, the tube's actually going to stick out. It's going to weld to the inside of the flange, and sometimes you got to shave them down in order to get a proper seat on the head. These ones look good so far. Fully MIG welded around the fully TIG welded around the inside, you can see. But on the outside, it's got a spot weld here. It's got a tiny little spot weld there, and that's it. This tube here, it's a tiny spot weld there. Same thing, spot weld here, spot weld here. How that one got a little extra spot, I don't know. But we're only fully welded around in here. We're not welded around all the way around the outside. I would steer clear from that. Another big factor is when you look inside, a good header is going to have a cone. The cone is going to help with exhaust scavenging and anti-reversion, and is it worth a lot of horsepower? No. Is it worth maybe a couple? Yeah, maybe a couple. Will you notice it? Most likely not. but it's going to help get the exhaust gases out. Do we have equal length headers where up inside the collector all the tubes are the same? Because if they're staggered off, it's not going to create a good vacuum and it's not going to pull the exhaust gases out of the chamber. This header, if you look on the inside, it actually has no cone at all. It's just flat. They brought the tubes together, welded a triangle cap or a diamond cap on the inside, welded the collector flange on it, said, good, we're done. Not good. So, this header. I've been hearing a lot about them, so I figured I'd go for them and see how they look. If I didn't like them, I'd send them back. These are from Speed Engineering. And I was a little skeptical. I tried to do some reading on them. I found no bad research on them. They do offer an upgrade in your V-band flange, which is just a bigger bolt. That's all it is. So, but the big thing I've noticed is, one, and we'll talk about the finish here in a minute, the walls, the pipe. These headers feel heavier. I can tell that the wall thickness on the pipe is a lot thicker. I didn't measure it, but I can tell it's a lot thicker. Flange is the same. They do look straight. They are fully TIG welded all the way around the outside. Fully TIG welded all the way around the inside. Big thing. If you look on the inside of this one, it's got a giant cone sticking out of it. That's going to help these headers flow so much better. It's going to help get them gases out of the car. Is it worth $100 more? I would say absolutely yes. I we'll see, but I've heard nothing bad about them, and so far, for the money, I'm very impressed. Now, that's supposed to be 304 stainless, and I guarantee you it's 304 stainless. Like I said, just holding them in my hand, you can feel the difference in the heft. These are a lot heavier. I have a sneaky suspicion that these, you can actually, and it's hard to see because I can't really show you in camera, but the wall thickness is substantially bigger. I really don't think these are a real high quality stainless. They almost look chrome plated to me. So let's see what they look like when we dull them down. Because they've either polished the pipes before they welded them, it managed not to distort or tint or stain the chrome. I don't know. Let's see what they look like here in a minute. Well, they really might be stainless. I just don't think it's a real good quality stainless. I'm trying to figure out how they managed to polish in areas that are really hard to polish. But then again, they didn't weld all the way around up here anyway, so what do they got to polish out? So I should get the same color finish as I have on that one, with just a little bit of Scotch-Brite work. Okay, that's good to know. Heavy wall is 0.03, light wall is 0.018. You're right. Good to know. I didn't know that. I learned something new. So, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. They may be stainless, but I really just, I don't know. I got a light on me. Let's pull this light out. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about on the inside of these. And I just remembered I had this light in my pocket. That's what we're looking at on the inside. You can see the wall thickness, I'm hoping. Here we go. You can kind of see the wall thickness. You can see right there where it's flat. There's no cone at all. Here's the good header. Huge difference in the header. The pipe wall thickness definitely looks better. The pipes are not as far down into the collectors, so they're going to help with the vacuum that it creates anyway. Like I said, to me, that is a better header. And you can kind of look at all that stuff on any kind of header. You're going to have the same. It's a short header compared to a long one. That's it. So now that we covered that, I need to make this one because I mean that's the form it came in, guys. She got some marks on it from the mandrel bender and everything else, and so I'm just going to go ahead and give her a little sand and bring this all down to one uniform color where it looks a little bit better. Clean some of the tarnish up on the weld. I mean, got to make everything else match the engine bay, right? Or just take a little bit of pride in what things look like when you put them in your car, you know? A little bit of extra time, just a small amount of work, and they look so much better when they're done. What did it cost you? A couple dollars for a piece of Scotch-Brite? You know, they're looking so much better. Most people may not notice it, but it's stuff like that that I see when I walk around and I look at a car. You know, that one guy, you're going to be at a show, and that one guy is going to walk up. He's going to look at it, and he'll be like, yeah, you know, look at that. That guy wants that. Just that little extra bit. That's nice. Now, granted, you don't build cars to impress other people. At least I don't think, but I always build them to be how I want. But it really doesn't take much time. maybe 10 minutes. And if I wanted to, I can grab the polisher and polish them right out. All right, man. Take it easy, Daryl. Thanks for stopping in, bud. Like I said, these were speed engineering headers. See, they're already starting to look better. All I'm basically doing is just kind of sanding the mandrel bend marks out of it from when the die rolled across it. Some of the welding stains. Ah. All right, those look pretty good. Now I got to go find the gaskets and we'll get these hung up. Got my gaskets. Got a pack of header bolts. MLS. Down manifold side. Follow the directions. Now, I'm not mistaken, these headers on this car these are easier to put in when you just crawl inside the engine bay in this car. Leave those sit there. Couple of turns in. Go ahead and stick this bolt in this one. Now I want to check this other gasket real quick. Really shouldn't matter. I am gonna have to hook these brake lines up here real soon. Now, all the holes seem to line up real nice. And I'll tell you on that last set of headers, I had a couple that I would have had to drill back out. That's why the bolts were never in it. The holes were definitely off, so these are definitely of better quality. Of course, never tighten them up until you get them all in. I just kind of run them in close. All right, I should be back, guys. Some calls you just got to answer. But you did miss me slip off and bust my hand, though. All right. Here we go. All right, we're back. Oh, I slipped off a wrench. Oh man. Oh, that engine bay looking awfully pretty. I think I was in some kind of loop there. I don't know what was going on. Careful. Easy, careful, a little slower, a little faster. Here we go. Well, hello there. I'll bet you can't work on your car like this. You could sit inside of it, walk underneath of it. See, when you can't hang out in the garage with me, you can always go on a live and hang out with me. Isn't that nice? Come back here. Get in there. There we go. I'll drop my other phone. I got two phones. They call me Kevin Gates. Ah, don't do that. So I did talk to Venager today, and they're sending me out the parts that I need that they goofed up on, which, they're coming quick. That's all I can ask for. Mistakes happen. Do as I do, and you too can be broke too. I'm quite sure Chevy's got a proper torque sequence that I just did not follow. I do know they're about 3 snaps of a back tight. It's generally tight enough. Okay, those are on. Pipes will be run tomorrow or in the next couple of days. What else can I do tonight? Oh. Oh, I know. I know. I know. I know. I know. I know. Is the O-ring on there? Yes, the O-ring is on there. the only tape I had, Daryl. Not liking that for some reason. Hey, Eric. Might need to play this safe. I don't know. Let's see what happens here. Uh, that tape actually comes off pretty easy. Good thing, because that paint is dry. What's up, Nick? Actually, seeing how the holes are in there now, I can go ahead and remove that tape. I put so much on it because I wasn't sure exactly where the holes were going to be. I am going to wet sand the firewall this week, though, I can tell you that much. Ah, seeing how I got my new buffer in and took a page out of Daryl's book and got one of the mini buffers. It's kind of neat. There we go. Yeah, no, without inner fenders, it makes it kind of nice. But we got a lot to do before I can put them in. Headers are in. Dipsticks in. I'm going to have to work on valve covers here. I do got to paint them. Daryl, I appreciate it. No, we're not doing cutouts. Are you talking like the electric cutouts, Eric? Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do cutouts. I kind of want to, but I don't know. I really don't know if I'm going to do that. What up, Mike? Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do that. Like I said, it's going to be warmer this weekend, so I want to get the firewall sanded. I know Wednesday, if all works out as planned, because hopefully I'll have the AC parts by Wednesday. If I don't have the AC parts by Wednesday, we are going to start wiring the car on Wednesday. Or at least get the box mounted, start getting the main runs to where they need to go and stuff like that. My buddy Chuck, he's been on here a couple of times. He's going to help me do the wiring. He's a wiring genius when it comes to this stuff. Well, Mike, I appreciate you having me on anyway. I wouldn't want you talking and driving and typing and driving anyway. So, yeah. I think tomorrow during the day, I'm going to take some trim pieces home here and there, and I'm going to teach myself how to do some gold leafing. Say you can't teach old dogs new tricks? Well, I'm going to try to teach this one. Speaking of Chuck, I'm thinking we got a project for 27. What's 27? I'm kind of lost, but yeah, Chuck. Yeah, I know Chuck, but I'm trying to think what 27 is. Oh, 2027. Now that, okay. Okay, I can see that. I'll have to talk to you about that. That, I think that'd be cool. Um, I've got an idea for 27 if we can. I think we can get it together, but we're going to have to get hammering soon if we're going to do that. Um, I'm thinking if we want to try to shoot for number 2, I think something that I may have been involved with at one point in time that is somewhere in Ohio that you know of, I think that would be a great project. Ah, ha, ha, yeah. I think that would be an awesome project. I can see it. I can definitely see it. You know what? I'm going to bring that up to him tonight. All right, guys. Well, listen, it's cold. I got the headers on. I did get my weather strip in today, so that's one step closer there. Um, I my stop out to Boris's was productive. I got a nice little interview out of it, so I'm gonna cut that out of that live, and I'll post that up separately. Um, you guys will see why I did stop out and talk to him. We got might have worked a deal with him out there on a little something. Um, we'll see. We'll see. Um, yeah. So no, it's not hooked up. So I got to get some hoses, but radiator's in there. We're gonna start running the plumbing and stuff like that here real soon. And there is not much room. I mean, there's guys, that's close. So for reference, this is your standard deep well 8 millimeter socket. From my fan to the alternator pulley, it's not much different than a deep well 8 millimeter 3/8 drive socket. I can't even stick my hand in there. See, definitely a tight fit. I do believe. Now, don't get me wrong. I liked my old setup, okay? But I think that is much tidier. The I think it looks prettier. I think this was definitely the way to go. That's a possibility. I can talk to him about that. Cause I tell you what, Daryl. He was talking to me today, and he's definitely a fan. Um, he keeps telling me that he's one of the few people that know what this car looked like when it came to the house. He's seen it, but it was worse than when you got it, Daryl. So yeah, he can't believe the amount of work that I got done and you got done on it. And he's still blown at how fast you were able to get the body work whipped into shape in this car under the paint at the level that you did it, did. Uh, he told me at one time, he says, man, if that guy lived closer, I'd hire him. So, uh, so are any of you guys, were you any guys in here on my header discussion earlier? I'll see what your thoughts are on that. I am gonna, they ain't gonna go to waste. I am gonna post them for sale. Someone will definitely have a use for them somewhere. You had enough up here on Friday? So, Eric, I was talking about headers and how, cheap headers. These were $100. The headers I just put on were like $200. What I was talking about was how to tell. I mean, nothing wrong with buying cheap, but what to look at. You know, yeah, these are fully TIG welded on the inside, but on the outside they just got a little spot TIG there on each one. Just one spot TIG on the outside. Pipe wall's a lot thinner. I think the quality of stainless is a lot less, and there is no cone on the inside. Those headers had a huge cone that it actually extended almost out of the header. That helps with exhaust gabbaging and reverbance and all that other fun technical stuff. Um, Worth a little bit more horsepower, but you spent just a little bit more money and you got way better quality in the header. Talked about, the difference between, really didn't get into mid-length headers, but the difference between shorties and longs and 3/4 inch and inch and 3/4, 7/8, inch and 5/8, all that other fun stuff. So, hey, hon. So, but anyway, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask away. Other than that, I think I'm going to close up, get home, because it's a little cold. Like I said, tomorrow during the day, I will be live. I'm going to teach myself how to airbrush. I'm going to do it from the get-go. I'm going to show the screw ups. I'm going to show you, hey, maybe I knock it out of the park first try. Chances are I'm going to butcher it horribly. So if you guys just want to see some real carnage, keep an eye out. I'm sure it'll be fun. I do miss you. So, you know what, Eric? You're right. It is, you really do get what you pay for. Now, that on the other hand, let's look at the brackets that were on this. Those were all cheap brackets. For the setup I had initially, they were fine. Why? I mean, if I can get the alternator and power steering bracket for 60, $70, why would I go buy the same bracket made out of the same material just because it's got 3 or 4 letters of a name stamped on it? It really is. I personally think it really depends on what you're buying. You don't buy cheap internal parts. You don't buy, if you're buying a camshaft lifter and spring kit for $150, something's wrong. Um, I guarantee you the springs are a problem. I guarantee you the rockers are garbage. And we don't even know if the cam was case hardened correctly. No, you don't buy that stuff. You don't buy. I'm not too sure on head gaskets. I'm not completely sold on, like, because I've run into some really garbage quality name brand gaskets. So, I mean, head gaskets, yeah, spend up, get the good MLS head gaskets and everything else. But like valve cover gaskets, water pump gaskets, stuff like paper gaskets, I don't know. You can kind of go cheap on that. Electronics. If you're gonna run electronics, especially with a Holly, best to go with factory GM. And from what I'm hearing, that's the only way to go, or they actually have trouble communicating. Um, so yeah, it is true. You get what you pay for. And that's another thing that me and Daryl actually talked about when we were doing the paint. I brought him a certain paint, and he was like, "It's okay. We can use it for the base coat." But then we didn't like the coverage, so we stepped it up a little bit. The coverage was a lot better. And then we sprayed a couple of parts with the clear I had brought, and it just wasn't all that good. So I finally just listened to him, and I went out and I figured the clear is what makes the gloss, the clear is what protects the paint. Might as well get the best I can get, right? And you can see it. I mean, it made things so much easier in the long run. She says no more money. Please. I do got a set of valve covers I got to paint up. So what I want to do with the valve covers is I got enough paint, no more money on paint, hon. What I want to do is I want to take the valve covers I have and I want to paint them the same paint scheme as the car. They'll be blue on the bottom, red pinstripe, red on black on top. I think that'll look sharp. Still got to make the hood inserts, which I think we're going to try to do that this weekend. I mean, guys, we're running out of time. We're running out of time quickly. You know, I know I'm always changing something. Always got to go better, right? Problem is, you change one thing and it kind of cascades, like the steering. And, well, this car, period. So we did the steering, we changed the steering box because I got a really good deal on the quick ratio steering box and the power steering pump and everything else. Well, that turned into because I put that box on, now we got to get more caster out of the wheel, which turned into upper control arms. Upper control arms, I started looking at the geometry of the suspension and steering. I had trouble getting the sway bar to fit. Well, that turned into a whole new steering linkage setup. And before you know it, I just replaced the entire front steering system on the car completely. But is it going to handle better? Yes. Is it going to have any bump steer anymore? No. Is it going to drive like a 60-year-old car? Probably not. It may drive like a 30-year-old car, but it's going to be light years better. Um, yeah, it's always dominoes. It's one thing and it turns into another, turns into another, turns into another. Um, we're putting power windows in the car. So, New Relics. I keep forgetting their banner. But New Relics jumped on and they're doing power windows. We're getting power vent windows, door windows, and rear quarter windows. And we're going to use the factory handles where you push the handle down or pick the handle up to put the windows down. Um, that's all got to get changed out. Which I wasn't looking real forward to hand cranking windows down anyway. Um, Speaking of, I got to call the interior people tomorrow and see how they're looking and where they're heading at. Anyway, listen, guys, I'm gonna get going. Like I said, it's 20 after 8. I want to jump over to Daryl's live, and I want to get home. So, anybody, everybody, thanks for joining in. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you later. Actually, Eric, I just seen that. This is not cable drive. This system is still gear driven. It is got a motor that attaches to the factory. Where is it? It's right here. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. Hold on one second, Eric. Uh, Here one second. I'll show you what the system looks like. This is what we're putting in. As you can see, it's gear driven. There's the old regulator. It's all based off the factory style regulator. So it's supposed to be a bolt-in unit, bolt directly in. There's a little bit of trimming I got to do, but it's really not that bad. A little trimming on the inside of the door. But yeah, it's all of them, even the front wing windows and everything. It's all gear driven. None of that cable drive stuff like the Corvettes and everything else, or them other units they sell. Like this is like real high quality, really heavy duty, gonna last forever type stuff. I can't wait to put it in. I think it's gonna make a nice install. I mean, yeah, see what I mean? It's actually a really nice setup. And to be honest with you, price wise, if you look at them, they're about the same price. It's a little bit more, but not that much more. And look what you get. You get a better product. You know what I mean? All right, man. Take it easy.